Hello everyone. Can you confirm my mic is okay? You can hear me and that my screen is visible.
Yes, to my end, you're loud and clear. So maybe
Okay,
somebody
so
can confirm like F5, you can be able to see the screen, or here at TIFF, you can also confirm, or anybody in the call.
you can just react or type it in the chat.
Yeah, Ronins has also reacted that can be able to see your screen. So maybe TIFF, we can give the rest to join for like 5 minutes, and then they'll get in.
Okay,
That's
okay.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe within the 5 minutes, I would like to ask a question. Has anyone ever worked with GitHub Copilot? I don't know, maybe if I place the poll, it will affect somebody who's not in the organization. So if you've ever worked with Copilot, you can type in the chat, yes. Any Copilot, whether it's a GitHub Copilot, you've worked with Windows Copilot, so any Copilot, you can just type in the chat as a yes. If you've never worked with Copilot, just type no.
Pia kukaa kwenye grupu unakaa tu kimya kimya, yani uchangii chochote.
I'm waiting for your response. I hope everybody can be able to access the chat. So if you ever worked with Copilot, type in the chat that yes. If you've never worked with any Copilot, you can type it no. So that you can know the number of individuals who have ever worked with it. It will help us while we're doing today's demos. Okay, Tiffany, you've ever worked with Copilot. Also, Kanini, Joseph, you've never worked with a Copilot. That's okay. So yes, let's make this interactive as we wait for the rest to join the call. Right. Or you can also react. Okay, I think maybe some of us don't like chatting on any platform. You can also send a react of thumbs up that indeed you've ever worked with Copilot. Yeah, thumbs up from Kibet. Nice. That means a number of us we've ever heard of it. Or maybe these are a term that you've never, it's new to you, but maybe you've used it before. Okay, maybe ChatGPT. If you've ever used ChatGPT, just react with that thumbs emoji. I think that will be the basis of it. If you ever used ChatGPT, so some reactions are coming in. Yeah, ChatGPT is almost like a copilot because it always responds to whatever things that you're doing. I think, Tiffany, if you're ready, I think you can be able to start your presentation. Be a good number.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Moniki Tiffany Yawera. I am a Better Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and we are hosting this session together with Kemoy. So I'm going to cover GitHub Copilot, what it is, how to use it in Visual Studio Code and VS Code also. And then Kemoy is going to do a demo using GitHub Copilot. So this is kind of going to fall in both machine learning and AI, and also web development, because he's going to use .NET, sorry. What is GitHub Copilot? So it's an AI-powered code completion tool developed by GitHub and OpenAI. So it acts as a coding assistant. When you are developing your projects, it helps you write code faster. It's also more efficient because there is auto-completion. So when it auto-completes your code, you don't have to spend more time writing those lines of codes. We'll see that in a demo. It also generates code snippets. It can also perform repetitive tasks. So GitHub Copilot is powered by AI. So these models have been trained, and then they know how this code is supposed to run. So when you do when you do maybe a line of code that's print something, it depending on what language you're using, it's going to autocomplete or give you an auto suggestion for you, because it has been trained on this code boilerplates, and then it gives you alternatives of the options that you could use. So it transforms the, maybe if you want to write a code and you don't know how to go about it. Maybe you are writing something in JavaScript. So you write a comment, and then you're going to write an asynchronous function. So you write that on the comment, and then when um, you finish that line and press enter, it gives you an auto suggestion on what that code would look like, that block of code would look like. So it's integrated with JetBrains IDEs like PyCharm. For those who have worked with PyCharm, you can use it in VS Code, you can use it in Visual Studio. It's also in GitHub code spaces. And if you have ever deployed something on GitHub and then you are doing a CI/CD and then you encounter a problem, GitHub Copilot is also there to guide you on what happened or what went wrong. So it's integrated in most IDEs and also in GitHub itself. So it's essential for developers because it assists us in our during development. It assists you write code faster. It can also help you learn in case you're learning a new language and you want to do it practically. It can help you do that. It also helps you debug in case you encounter a bug in your code. So it's an essential tool for developers, and we're going to see how that works. So it GitHub Copilot gives your developers a huge advantage by increasing developer productivity and satisfaction. It accelerates innovation, and it acts as a bridge for skill gaps. So if you're working on something and you have never worked on this maybe project before, or I'm working on a JavaScript project. I've never learned JavaScript. I'm starting from scratch, and I have Copilot. It makes it so much easier because, first of all, if there's an error I make, it will give fixes. It also has a chat, a Copilot chat in Visual Studio and also VS Code. So you can look at that and look like the code that's giving you a problem. You put it in the chat, you ask Copilot to assist you with fixing it and explain why it is giving you a headache. So that's easy to work with when you have something that will help you code faster. identify errors in your code and also giving you ideas in case you're stuck. Let's go to the next slide. So GitHub Copilot offers code suggestions to contextualize your project. So if you look at this block of code, this is an asynchronous function in JavaScript. So you write this comment, you also write another comment, and then when you can tab or press enter, it gives you an auto suggestion of what your code would be like. You can also give Copilot a prompt and it will generate a line of code. So there are 90 people say it's 96 faster when you have repetitive tasks. It makes you more productive. 74% of people say it's more satisfying to work with a GitHub Copilot, which is true. Developers using Copilot, these also other things. So they have faster completions, less mental effort on repetitive tasks. You spend less time searching. That is true. In case you want to, again, I'll use the synchronous and asynchronous functions in JavaScript. So you're learning this, you want to implement it for the first time. You don't have to start searching Google's engine like Chrome. You can also use Edge. You don't have to search. You'll just type a comment or a prompt, and then you ask GitHub Copilot to explain to you how they work and also the structure. So you don't have to search for these things. You stay more in the flow. If you are stuck, it gives you auto completions or suggestions, and 60% are more fulfilled with their job. That's true. When you have something to assist you when you're stuck, you won't be as much frustrated when you're working on these projects, and 59% are less frustrated when coding. Yeah, I said that. These are all other like people talking about GitHub Copilot. So it's a really important tool for developers. Like you can see someone is saying it's like giving a programmer a superpower. That's true. It auto completes your tests. This one saying it does 80% of their coding. That's true. So we'll see how that works. So it can work on VS Code, GitHub, Visual Studio. We have JetBrains IDEs like PyCharm and NeoVim. Let's go to another script. So let me stop sharing my screen and then I'll show you how this works. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, the screen is visible.
So I'll delete this. So we're going to first see how you can install you can install GitHub Copilot. So first of all, GitHub Copilot, you need a subscription to work with GitHub Copilot. So if you are a student, you can apply for the student developer pack. So you need an active subscription on your GitHub account, and then when you have that, you can connect your maybe editor like VS Code with GitHub. So like mine, you can see it's connected with GitHub and GitHub Copilot chat. So you let me drag. So this is the, let me send this link. So we have GitHub Student Developer Pack. It comes with a lot of things. You have Copilot, learning resources. So also certifications, like GitHub Foundation certifications. You can also learn intro to web development, data science. So you come to this site and you sign up for Student Developer Pack. You have your school ID. So you will use your school ID to verify that you are a student. You will have to sign in into your GitHub account though. So since mine is already subscribed, let's see. You see, you can start learning new skills. We have learning pads. So you'll go to that link I have sent you. You will follow that link, and then you will claim your student developer pack. And then after you've claimed it, you will come to VS Code. Now back to VS Code. Taking time, but you can go check that link out. So you will come install your Copilot here. I'll close this sidebar. You install GitHub Copilot. So it will help you write your code faster. And then you will also install, back to extensions, Copilot chat. We're going to see how to use the two of them. So back to this. So we've said if you write a comment, maybe this is how you write a comment in Python. You use this hash. So you can just write hello world, print hello. You see, it's already doing the auto completion. So it has already given me a suggestion. Let me zoom in so that you can see. You see, it's telling me print hello world. So I just tab and I have my code. We can try for, you see, it's already doing this in Python. Let's see. I already have my code. So this is so easy to work with. Let's say I make an error. Let me just follow this. If a is less than 10, print else. So let's say Python is case sensitive, and also it's when you are using the Python language, you have to check your indentations. So I have made a mistake here, and I want Copilot to help us fix this. So if I hover this, you see there's already a fix using Copilot. It's already generating a code that will fix my problem with this line of code. So it explains the problem to me. The problem is with the indentation of the else statement. It should be aligned with the if statement. So it has already made changes to my code. So if I accept fix using Copilot, it's generating edits, and then it has fixed my code. I accept this, and then my code has no error. So if I run this, it will give me an output. We have is less than or equal to 10. So that is okay. Let's say I'm working on this whole chart and I want to make sure maybe I'm trying to learn asynchronous and synchronous functions in JavaScript and how to write them. So I will just right click this and then I can come to Copilot and then we have different options, editor, inline chart. That is what I just like the, let's just show this. I can ask Copilot to generate something. So generate a function that calculates the sum of two integers. It's generating. So remember, Copilot is powered by ChatGPT or OpenAI and GitHub. So it's using a model ya ChatGPT 4. You can also use ChatGPT 4.1, the mini one and the one in preview, or Cloud. Cloud is also good. So it has generated our function. I can accept this. So we have our function here. So it printed, not printed, it wrote the code where I, like where my cursor was. So you can see this function is inside the range because that's where I opened the Copilot inline chart. So if I just delete this and come here and redo the same thing, this is auto suggestions, but I want the inline chart. So create a function that adds two integers and it's also that's what compares the of the two inputs. Let's see if it will generate that. You see, we have our function. So it takes less time to figure out these lines of code. So if it was I didn't have Copilot, I will just come here and then start thinking what I'm going to do. So if let's delete this and see if the code ChatGPT has given us is working. Not ChatGPT, Copilot, sorry. Let's run this. Error name null is not defined. So I have an error in my code. So what do? Fix using Copilot. So you can see this makes coding so much easier. If you encounter a bug, you can identify what's wrong with the bug. I just going to run in Jupyter Notebook. Wow. there's a Jupyter file and there's a Python file. Oh. So that's why it's not running. Okay, let me see what the problem is. Define function. A, define and compare A and B. So return add 2 and 3. So this should be up here. You just can also give us a description containing the basic Python code snippets, so we can run this file. I don't know what's up. I'm still using Copilot for this. So we have a problem with our file. So we can just you right click, and then when you right click, you can see the Copilot option. So let me close the terminal. You have Copilot, so you can add file to chat. So we have added this file to chat. We can ask Copilot the file, the function add and add and compare. Let me just copy this. Are not being being executed. So it's generating a response. Let's wait and see. Are being called, but the results are not being printed or stored. To see the output, you need to print the results of these call functions. So you see, the code was executing, but you are not printing the output. And now because you have Copilot, I could identify the error, and then I could just insert at cursor, or you can just apply in editor, or you can just copy the code. So I'll just copy the code, and then I can come insert it here. Let's run this and see if it actually works this time, now that GitHub has fixed. No, GitHub Copilot has fixed this for us. So you can see we have our output here. Let's say if I didn't have Copilot, I would have spent a couple of extra minutes trying to identify what the problem is, yet I had not printed the output. I had just defined the functions. So that is one advantage of having Copilot. You get to identify errors, and then you code faster because it's giving you the auto suggestions. We've seen the two. So this is Copilot in VS Code. Remember, you have to install the GitHub Copilot extension and the GitHub Copilot chat extension. So that's how you use it. You can just close it when you're done. So now I'm going to show you how this works in Visual Studio Code. So this is Visual Studio Code. This is how it looks like. If I have a new file, I can just open a file folder, clone a repository, and all that. So since we've worked on a project from the other side, I want to demonstrate Copilot. Let me zoom in. I start zooming in. So on your right hand of the screen where my cursor is, that's where you have your GitHub Copilot extension. So when you click it, you can, since mine is connected, let's see, manage Copilot subscription. It opens a window in the browser. I have so many tabs open. So in your this is my GitHub account. So in your profile, you have a Copilot page. If you come to your Copilot page, that's where you find whether your GitHub is whether your GitHub Copilot, I mean, is active. So for mine, I have the student developer pack, so I activated the GitHub Copilot, but you can see it's enabled for GitHub, for the command line, for the IDE. Now the IDE is the VS Code, and then I also have PyCharm. You can see it here. So I've enabled Copilot in all of them. So you also have GitHub Mobile. So this is where you see if all your GitHub Copilot subscriptions are okay. So if I didn't have it configured in Visual Studio, it would have redirected me to GitHub, and then I would have connected my account. And if my account has the subscription, it's automatically activated. So you can open a chat window, and then we can ask it to write a Python file. Help me create a new function in Python. So it's thinking, and then it will generate a code. So this is how you create an asynchronous function in Python, and then it explains what actually it wrote. So it's like having ChatGPT, but in VS Code. I can just create a new file. You have your options at HTML, JavaScript. There's no Python. Okay. So we have a new file, and we had our ChatGPT code. It has started a new thread. Okay. Right. Explain to me how to work with functions in Python. So you can see you can use it to learn. It gives you examples. So you have examples there. You just copy paste, and then you can learn faster and do things much faster. Like in comparison to how you would work with this if there was no help from Copilot. So it makes things easier. You can totally work faster. It helps you debug code faster also. So you can try it out. Subscribe for the GitHub education pack, and then you can check it out. And I swear it will help you with especially bugs and your coding. You have no idea where your code is running. Yeah, it's not running. I mean, so you your head is clogged. You can't identify the problem, and that's why you have GitHub Copilot to help you with that. So if you have any question in regards to Copilot, you can ask. I think I'm done with my presentation. Let me check if I covered all the slides. Let me just drag this here. Yeah, I think I'm done, Kimboy. The rest I've explained along. The one on the web is taking time to load. We did a demo. We have GitHub Copilot for individuals and for business. If you are part of an organization, your organization can have a subscription for the people who work in it, and then you can get to access GitHub Copilot because you have to have an active subscription to use it. You can also have free trial, but once your free trial is over, you have to pay for the Copilot now because your subscription is up. The advantages is you turn it on and off. If you don't want to use GitHub Copilot when you're coding, maybe you want to test if it's what you want to test yourself, you can disable Copilot. So you can you have this icon at the bottom. You can just disable completions or something like that, because the completions are the ones that help you with inline coding. Maybe you want to write a certain function and you want to test yourself if you can remember how to write functions in JavaScript or Python. So you can disable the auto completion and then enable it. You can also just come to the extension and then just disable the Copilot chat. But I don't want to do that because I'm using it. So I think that's it. This is for business. They have policy controls. You can assign users, and then if an organization is purchasing GitHub Copilot, they have to maybe have certain policies for that. They can allow blog suggestions for certain things. So those are configured in the business plan. But for us, we are focusing on the student developer pack. So for that, it will have the auto completions enabled. The policies, I'm not sure about that, but you can check them out. So go try that. It helps you with coding. It's like having a mini chat GPT when you are coding, and it's faster. And I think I'll stop there. Back to you at Kemboy. And if you have a question, type it in the chat. We can cover it after the session when you have a QA. So let's have a demo from Kemboy's side, and he's going to show us how you can have you can work on a project from end to end using Copilot.
Right. I hope you can be able to hear me from your side. And my screen is now visible.
I can hear you.
All right. So thank you, Tiffany, for sharing with us. So there are several things we'll be able to learn that you can be able to use for Pilot. It is your second programmer that there's a task that you've been given so that you can achieve it. But since you want to make work easier and make things fast, then you can be able to use Copilot and go with that. So we'll be working on a workshop. I want to share a link to that workshop. So maybe time won't allow for us to end the workshop. The workshop is very, very long, but we'll intend that we just follow up with that workshop that I've shared on the chat. So it's going to so it's a workshop whereby we're using only Copilot to build a project, and then it's a full stack project that we're going to develop, but a very easy one. But you can now extend whatever you're going to learn, and then you can be able to use it in other applications. And I'll be showcasing this with Visual Studio. So Visual Studio is an editor. Mostly you'll find .NET developers using this, but are not limited to other editors. Others can be able to use Visual Studio Code, and we've been using Visual Studio Code for a very, very long time. So let me open that. So I'll be opening the same, or let me just showcase whatever we have with it so that we cannot be blinded or whatever we are going to do. So let me just go to the start. So it's creating a client server application with GitHub Copilot with .NET inside Visual Studio. So with this, even on your own free time, you'll be able to try it out in case you don't find time to try it out by yourself now. So the goal here is to just create .NET Web API and a Blazor application. So .NET is for the backend and Blazor is for your front end. So we're going to create something known as a minimal API. So a minimal API is an API that it's not very complex. So a complex API has structures like controllers, models that interact with databases. So we're going to develop something that is basically a minimal API is like something, a small API, not a bigger one. So this workshop might take almost 45 minutes, but for somebody who is still learning more on Visual Studio, it might take more time than that. So on this slide, there are some videos that are available for you. Just over all the materials, just open that. There's some videos that they're available for you so that in case you face an error, you can just click on all these videos. If I click, for instance, this video over here, it's going to load a YouTube video, and then it's going to play like for almost 3 minutes. There's somebody showcasing how he was able to achieve that. So he doesn't speak, but he's showcasing whatever you should be able to do for this so that you can achieve this workshop role. Something else, yeah, before we start, I think I want to be talking more about the LLMs and how Copilot works, because Tiffany has also mentioned about how a Copilot works. So we shall be getting just started over here at the lab. Nice. Okay. So the first thing is that we will open Visual Studio and create a new project, and we're going to first create a Blazor application. So I'm going to take this screen, this other side. So I'll be referencing that. And I hope also on your end, whenever you're stuck, be able to reference it. So I'm going to create a project. I'm over here, just click create a project over on the Visual Studio. And then we are going to create a Blazor app. So if you can't find it, you can be able to search over here, but it's always at the top. So it's a Blazor. So if you're coming from a different language, maybe you could call that React, but now on C# we call it Blazor. So then just go for next. Over here, just give a name for that. I don't know, let me call it a car Copilot, because we are going to develop a car catalog basically, and then choose a location. So the location is where your application will reside. Like for instance, mine will just reside on this folder on .NET. Then solution name, yeah, that's okay. So I'm going to go for next. Over here, you're supposed to choose your runtime stack. So we have .NET 8 and 9, but in this demo, I'll be using .NET 8. But if you want to try it with the new .NET 9, you can be able to try it. So I'm using .NET 8 just in case, because this is a workshop that was developed some time before .NET 9. and .NET 8 is long-term support. So ensure that you have configurations for HTTPS. Remember, you can, if you disable this, you'll be running on HTTP to test your APIs. So I'll be using HTTPS in this case, and then we'll go and click next. So just create that. So let's wait for that to create. So it always takes some time, especially Visual Studio might not run on most of the laptops that maybe don't meet the requirements of almost 8 GB and above, because it's a heavy editor. So, but you can see you can be able to run Copilot with any other editor. But in this case, let's try it out on Visual Studio. And there we are. So the next thing that we are told to do is to first test if this application is running. So the first thing we'll see is just an hello world. So over here, how can you be able to run a code in Visual Studio? So you can build and then run, or you can just go directly to run without debugging. That's what I'm going to choose. Or you could just hold on Control and then F5. So let's wait for that to build. So at the bottom here, you're able to see that the building started. So let's give it some time. So once the building will end, it will launch the browser. Might take some time, but let's wait. So, and whenever you get, so maybe you find that I'm kind of confusing, be sure to tell me to hold on, then you can be able to talk about it. So don't let me go ahead without you be able to understanding this. So it's running, so I'm expecting my browser to load. Yeah. Took a very long time. I don't know why, maybe it's because I was launching Visual Studio for the first time. So this is how a Blazor app looks like, and everything is okay. So let's get into more on what you're supposed to do on the workshop. So next after the workshop, let me also showcase this, just in case if you're not following. So we've been able to create our Blazor app, and this is what we've seen. So we want now to start using Copilot. So we are told that if you want to use Copilot without, let's say you are new to writing Blazor applications, but you want to just let Copilot do everything for you, hold on Alt key and the /, and then maybe you enter some commands. So I'm going to ask Copilot, so I'm going to the application on program.cs. This is where the application starts. And over program.cs, we should be getting into pages and home.razor. So just below here, you're supposed to hold on Alt on your keyboard and then the /. So you can see there is a pop-up that Copilot is waiting for you to ask a question. So I'm going to ask some questions over here. So I'm going to tell Copilot, so I have those snippets. So I'm telling it to create a collection class known as cars. So this collection is a list of car instances. Each car has a make, model. So yeah, I'm trying to tell it, like, let me just send it to Copilot. So it's going to create a class known as car and create some new instances of the car. That's actually what it's going to do. Let's give it some time. And then there's over there, there's some code that's popping up. So you always have to read if you are going to accept or not to accept. So you see, I'm given a class of a car. It has some properties of make, model, and year of that car. Then it's creating a get and a setter, initializing it, and it's instancing with some cars. Okay, I can accept this. And once you accept that, it's going to be part of your code. So this is now my code. So something that you can do next is, if you want to preview if this is actually working, you can just actually rerun the application again. And let me bring the output over here. This is my output file. If the build is complete, so every time I think I need to wait for the browser to load, but let me cancel this and restart the application once again. Okay. Make sure that I'm doing everything as expected. Okay, I think I didn't end everything that was required. So something else that we were supposed to do is to tell the Copilot to create us some table so that you can be able to view these cars over here. So I'm going to also copy the command that you should be using. It's not a command, but it's just a random text that telling Copilot to help you do something. So just was supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do it just below here. Hold on Alt and forward key. Copilot is hallucinating over here. So Alt forward key, then pasting. So I'm telling it create a table of cars, taking its source from the car collection. These are the car collections over here in the list. So I'm going to send that. Let's wait for Copilot to respond. Okay, so the Copilot has been able to create us a table. So this is like the actual CSS or HTML thing that always happens. So it's going to have the head of the table and then the body of the table. So I'm going to accept this, and it's now part of the code. You see, I'm not even coding anything. My work is just to tell Copilot to do something that I want it to do. So, and then I'm going to save my work. And then let's review the code and let's see if this can be displayed. So my work is being saved. Let me make sure that application is shut down and then be able to rerun it again. Okay. It's okay, now it's running, and this is the output over here. So you can be able to see that in a table format. But wait, this table is not looking good. So we want to tell Copilot, can you tell us this table so that it can look much better? So I'm going to showcase the same. I will go to the file that you've been using. So what's the next thing that we are being told to do? Let me refer to it again. So we at this point whereby we have been able to see the table. So so we are told that we go to the block of code whereby the arts code started, and we are told that what are we supposed to go and do within home.razor? Let me see the next command. Okay, we are supposed to move some code within the Visual Studio. So I'm going to bring everything here. So over here, This is what the guideline is telling us, that this line of code is too big. So what we are supposed to do is to then remove all this part of the code, this one, and then move it to another file. So just select it, and then we are going to open the Copilot inside the chart. So whatever Tiff was showing you is the chart. So just click on it and then open the chart. It's going to pop up over here. So we're going to tell Copilot that, hey, can you move the selected code in behind a file, or we are telling it create a new file and then take this code and take it elsewhere, because this line of code is too much at the moment. So then I'm going to send it. So let's wait and see the response from Copilot. So, and at times when you prompt Copilot, it might not give you the same results each and every time. So the first thing that it does, let me expand this, is that it's going to create the first file that what we want to remain in this file. The next thing is going now to split this file and taking it somewhere else. So you can just tell Copilot, okay, can you insert it or insert the file? So it has created a file, okay. And then let me just minimize this. It has created a file and here's the code. So in fact, I'm not doing much of the coding. I'm just following the whatever you're being told on the workshop. And then the next thing that we are told is that we are supposed to save this file, because already it's not saved. This is on preview mode. So if you want to check that, let me close this so that it cannot interrupt my things. So I'm going to save, and you have to save it to the pages folder. So I'm going to navigate. So I'm going to where I had my files, things inside .NET folder, pilot, car, and then Copilot. So I'm going to locate the components, the pages, and that should be called home.blazor.cs. So this is a page that it's now available on another part of this. So then save it there. So this is now part of our code. So whatever happened is just modularity. We never create something new because these are what we had, but just below the other file. But now you can see our code is now maintainable. So and then the next thing is now to remove this part because we have already taken it the other way. So something else we are being told to do is let's add some good styling to our table. So what are we supposed to do? Place the cursor at the end of the razor or the table, then be able to style this table so that it can be okay or look good. So I'm just going to come over here. So can you press, you are supposed to press your Alt and the forward key, and then, or the forward slash, and then I'm telling it add some styling to the table because this table doesn't look good while you're viewing it. So then I'm going to send the request. Let's wait for that. Yeah, okay, so there's some code that Copilot is telling you. So on the left is my code, but on the right is the incoming code. So it's giving me some styles. So your work is to preview if you're going to accept this. But for me, I think I'm going to accept because yes, it has given me some good styling. Let me accept. Then you go and preview how it looks like. So on the table, just like a CSS file, it just created the styles and then styles the table to looks better than how it was before. So I'm going to save it, and then I'm going also to rerun the project. Then we see the changes. So it has loaded. Let me wait for the window to open. So the build is complete. Or is there an existing window that, I think there's an existing window. Let me look at where it is. It's here. It's over here. So you can see now the table is much different. So with the help of Copilot, we were able to create this awesome table. So let me now proceed and see what we are being told from this workshop. So a workshop that's now available for you on the chat. So if you want to go and try it out at the same time, you can do that. So you can see at this point, we are on the same page, which whatever we are supposed to do. So the next thing we want to create some backend. And we are told that in Visual Studio, can you right click on your solution So when you're doing something with C#.NET, you have solution explorers. That's kind of similar to any explorer that you have or a traditional explorer, but this one is now merged into your development. And then you're being told now, when you add and then add a new project, we are going to create a project known as a car service. So let me go and do that on the demo. So I'm going to close this way, and then I'm going to go to the solution. This is the solution over here. Right click on it. Can you add a new project? So when you're using Visual Studio, it's very easy for you to navigate. But if it was a Visual Studio code, maybe you could have run some commands or and have a different way of achieving this. So in this time around, we are supposed to create a web API and then clicking next. And the web API should be inside the project itself. So, but we should name the API itself, let's say car service. You can name it whatever you need and then clicking on next. We're using a framework of .NET 8, the long-term support. So I'm using it because the front end also using that. And we're using the same solution for the front end and the back end. We are configuring for HTTPS, so we cannot be able to use localhost. You can uncheck this if you want to use localhost in this case. So everything done, if you use controllers, then it means you will not be developing a minimal API, but for minimal APIs, no controllers, then creating. Nice. So we have now two projects over here. So we have the front end, we call it car Copilot, and the back end is known as the car service. So let me bring the workshop over here and then we can be able to preview what is happening. Okay, next we are being told to, okay, I think we are done up to this part. We've done this. Okay, so let me show you how a backend looks like, and then you can proceed to whatever we are supposed to do. So I'm supposed to open the program.cs on the backend, and you'll be able to see that this is a normal API for .NET or .NET Core. So the first thing is creating the web application. And what else? So we are using Swagger. This means that we are still on .NET 8. So here's where we're initializing the app. We're using Swagger and we'll be able to see what is Swagger. Swagger helps you when you're testing the routes. And then this is a sample of the data that you're going to use. You're going to use some weather forecast to test if it's working. So I'm going to close my front end and then work on my back end. So to run an API, so I'm going to first to right click on the car service and say this is a startup project so that it can know that we now have two projects on the same solution. And then I can be able to right click on it again, debug over here, and then start without debugging. So the API should be able to run. So we want to test and see what happens on a template of .NET. Sometime, and then the browser should be able to launch. Let me wait for that. The browser is already launched. Let me showcase whatever is in the browser. So this is the Swagger that I was telling you. It's used to test the API. So if you want to test out, just open that, then click try. So you're going to execute and see what comes with .NET. So it comes with some weather forecast that is hard-coded over here. Nice. Going to close that. Let's proceed with the project. So I'm going to remove that template. So it starts from here, whereby you're getting the summaries of the temperatures and whatever. Then we're going to remove that. We want to develop some API for this, and then we're going also to remove this over here. So let me go back to the workshop. So we are being told to delete everything on the weather forecast, of which we've done that. And then now we are going to tell Copilot to help us develop some web API. So I'm going to close this, okay? So I'm going to have also alt and the forward slash. At this point, I'm going to pasting this. I'm going to tell it, hey, can you create a minimal API get method? It's going to actually do whatever we've done in the front end, but now this time around the back end. So the car will have also the make, the model, and the year. And the method should return a list of cars without converting it to JSON. So we're going to tell it just do it on a basic level. So let me send that. So I hope my fonts are visible or clear to all the attendees. So if there is a challenge with the font, let me know if I can be able to increase it. So Tiffany says it's okay. So let me preview whatever it's giving me. So it's giving me a list of cars. It's going to map through the cars and giving me an endpoint routing to cars. I'm using that some lambda expression. This is whatever you get in when you're building minimal APIs, you'll be running a lot of lambdas to just loop through these cars over here. And then this is just a class to just give that the car will have a make, a model, and a year. So let me exert this. So this should be cool. So it's not always the case. Sometimes you might find that the Copilot gives you whatever you never wanted. So this is looking good to me in this case. So let me save it. And then what else are we supposed to do? Yeah, we're supposed to test it. But in this case, I want to make this route to be slash API and slash cars. So that you can see now, where is this API running? Let me just go to properties and then launch settings. And then you can be able to see the routes that you are going to go for. So we said it's going to run on HTTPS. So it will be HTTPS localhost 7147. Then you'll be able to see if we are getting these cars. And the cars that you should be getting from the backend is Toyota, Honda, and Ford. Let's see. So we're supposed to run the application. So I'm going to right click also on car service and debug. I'm going to start again. So it's running. I'm expecting a launch on the browser again. Nice. So you can see now we have API slash cars. So if I try out this on the Swagger UI and trying it out, let's say I execute this, you see you get all those cars that you had. So assuming this was your database, then this is how you could get into your data. Or if I was getting something for the database, but in this case, we are just getting it from a collection of a list. So we just listed these things and then we told the API to get that. So what's the API in this case? So the API is HTTPS, then localhost 7147, then API car. So this is the route that it goes. Even if you try it out, I think if you try to on a browser like this, it's going to work. Or let me check. Yeah, it's working. But yeah, it's here. So how else can you be able to test your routes? Go to carservice.https. HTTPS is how you can be able to test these things within your editor without going for Swagger UI or testing out elsewhere. And that's how .NET 9 is now developed, so that you can be able even to test it out from this point without going to launch a browser to test that. But in this case, let me just write that. So let me say get, let's say cars. So it will be a get over here, but now it's going to be, so the address that we're going to run, I want us to run this address that's available on the browser. Let me check. Let me go for that in the launch settings. It's supposed to be HTTPS. So you can do HTTP, but why do HTTP when you have allowed certificates to run on HTTPS? So let's do that instead of HTTP. Then we're going to go to, here will be the entire HTTPS, and then it will be API slash the cars. So I'm going to save it. Okay, since I've made some changes, I think if I make some hot reload, it will work. Let me try that. Okay, then send a request. Let's see what results I'm going to get. Yeah, and you can see we can, let me still get this out. So if I expand on this, you're going to see the response that we're getting from testing it within your Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio without even going to the browser. Something else to notice, you cannot be able to test this without having this extension. It's known as REST client. So REST client is available for both Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. So if I check on the installed ones, where is it? Can't find it. Okay, so it comes within Visual Studio. But for Visual Studio Code, you could just search for REST client and then do it. So it means it comes with inbuilt with Visual Studio. Okay, let me close this. Let's continue whatever we have on the workshop. So we are being told, so we'll be able to try it and we saw this. We saw a link like HTTPS. It's going to be different ports. It runs on different ports on different projects. So at this point, we are told now it's time to connect your front and your back end. And then I think after we done the connection is when we'll call it a session. So this is just coding without like using much effort. You're just telling the Copilot to do its work. So in this case, I'm going to open the Solution Explorer over here. When your Solution Explorer gets away like it was like now, just hold on Control, Shift, and N. So that will always bring the Solution Explorer to be visible again. So I'm going to go back to the front end. What are the tasks that you're supposed to do on front end? So we are going now to connect the two. So let me make sure I'm on my front end. Okay. Let me open home.razor where we were. Where is the other page where we had, I think it's here. So whereby we were hard coding. So remember within the front end that the other time we were hard coding this, and now we want to use the cars that is coming from the API. So let me remove this code that or the cars that are available on the front end. Let's connect it to the back end. And I'm going to use Copilot to connect that. So I'm going to ask Copilot. So holding Alt and then the forward slash and asking the question that, hey, connect to the web API to get the list of car in JSON format. Make sure to ignore the casing of the properties. So you always have to give instructions for Copilot or else it will do it the way that it wishes to. So let me send this. Just wait for the response. Nice. Let's see whatever it's having because it's not always right. It's giving me some HTTP clients. Let me accept and then we see whatever we have and save it. Let me see whatever we have. Let me just close this. Close this. So what did it did that it gave us some HTTP client. HTTP client is used when you want to communicate between one end to the other end. Like in this case, we want to communicate between the front end and the back end using HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. We're using something known as the HTTP client. So it is used to get things and setting them. So you are setting things when you are sending them to the backend, but if you want to get something from the backend, you're using the get method. So it's initially using this was available, but whatever has changed should be this one over here. All right. So in this case, you see it has connected directly to getting everything from the backend. Let me close this. So we are supposed to go and get the exact link to my backend because it says http dot so whatever API dot example. But we know when we go to HTTP here, we are supposed to connect to, where's that? Control Alt N. Then we go to the backend, the service, HTTP over here. Okay, so it's HTTPS over here. So I'm going to check this, so it will be /APIs and CAS. So let me go back to my front end. Where was I? It was here. So I'm going to paste that, but it would be now /API/ the CAS that you're supposed to get. So this is it. I think we should also input some. Yeah, so we should say that using text.json so that you can be able to receive things in JSON format. I think this is the only thing that we need. Even if there's something else we need, maybe Copilot will tell us, you should have also that. That was the only thing that we needed. We may test out if, no, we don't need the collections of genetics in this case. Save that. What are we told from the workshop? Let me bring it over here once again. And yeah, we've connected to the API. So we've also done this. Yeah, we are supposed now to run the application, and then we enable the course. Once we do that, we'll be at the end of whatever we wanted to achieve today. So the list is very long, but let's make it to having a front end and a back end communicate. So let me take this here. So in this case, I'm supposed to launch both the front end and the back end. Let me Control-Shift-L. So both of them are now off. So I'll start by the API. Whatever you choose, by the way, going to debug and start. So the API has started. So I'm going also to start the front end. So debug, start. Just wait and see. The front end has also already completed. Let's see whatever happens within the browser. I think the browser should have loaded. Let me wait and see for this for the backend. Let me see if it's happening. Let me look for a front end one. Where did it launch? I'm having a lot of apps launching today. So here. So there's an unhandled event. Let me check on that. Hey, I'm sorry for this. So unhandled card. So invalid, cannot provide value of HTTP. There is no registry of type. Okay. You face an issue like this, let me just copy this, and this should have happened into the front end. So I'll stop both from working. Yes, such errors happens, especially when you are accepting calls from the client. I'm going to open this. Where was home.res? It's over here. This is where we have the client. So I'm going to open the GitHub Copilot chat. I'm going to have this message over here. So, and then we give it enter. So let's get to know what's the issue happening. Or let me see, the HTTP client, we're supposed to import it. No. So you're supposed to say, here is how you can register HTTP client in program.cs, add HTTP service registry. Let me expand so that you can see the solution of how we can do that. Mhm. Okay. So we are supposed to do this on the app itself. Okay, this is new. So this is whatever you're supposed to add. Let me go and do that on the main app. I never knew about this. It actually happens because of the different codes that Copilot gives you. Because in my first trial, this was not the case. But let me go add this to the front end or to the main app of Razor Pages. So I'm going to open the solution explorer over here, and then open the program.cs. So let me go back to the Copilot. So whatever I'm going to do is, after the component has been added, where is it? No, this is the backend I opened, sorry. So I should open the, okay. So give me time, let me fix this issue, and then we'll be able to proceed. It's giving me a different pages of files. Let me see, namespace of Copilot. Okay. I do two different codes. Okay, let me see build, just to redirect. Let me tell it to insert in a file, and then we see how it does this. But it means that we'll be having a different file to save. I don't think this will be the case. Let me just get rid of that file. Okay, in this case, allow me to just get into having a new client in this case, rather than having to pushing up with this. So I'm going to hold on into a new client. So this is it. I'm going to get rid of this. But I'm going to create a new client so that it can use the service itself. So I'm going to go to the solution explorer again, say add new project. Let me create the client once again. This should be fast. So I'm sorry, we chose Blazor web app. It should be Blazor assembly standalone. I think that was the case. Let me just go that next. I'm sorry for that. So it should be called, let's say, car clients. And going next. So I'm using .NET 8. Next. Yeah, it has now created. So I'm sorry for that. We create a Blazor app that could connect backend by itself. So in this case, allow me to just preview whatever we did with the front end, and then we'll then proceed with connection with the backend. So the first thing I think we are going to create on pages, home.razor, it was over here. Allow me to just paste in the command that we did, and that should be creating a collection. So over here, just follow that. So this is just a recap of what we've done. It's because I chose the wrong Blazor application. So let me run that. So it's actually a redo for that. I'm sorry for the mislead. Okay, so we've had the code. It's actually the same of what we had. So the next thing is to create a table. It was just over here. So this will take us some few minutes to do it because we had done that. So the table has been created, looks okay. So I'm going to accept it. Okay, I'm going to accept that. So the table is ready. So I think the next thing is to tell Copilot to give us some good styles of this. But before the styles, I think we have to send this behind, or sending this inside another file. These ones over here. So I'm going to select this file. So I'm going to tell Copilot that open it in a chart. I'm telling Copilot that, hey, move the selected code. You see, I selected some code. So it is very intelligent to know that this code is selected and then send it into a different file. So it's giving me the code. Actually, it's going to give me the exact same code as before. It's going to retain this top part, going to give me this lower part, but it's just shifting it from this file to another file. So I'm telling it to insert that file. So it's going to create a file that is virtual. It's not existing until I accept or save with this file. And then this is car client on pages. I think it's okay. So I'm going to save it.
I think we lost Kimboy for a moment. Am I audible? Ama ni mimi nimedisconnectiwa?
Yeah, you're audible. So I think it's the same case here.
Oh, so it was Kimboy.
Yeah,
Let me confirm if maybe there's an issue with his network. Let me confirm that. But meanwhile, I hope you're still seeing how you can use Copilot for easy coding. You can just give it prompts inline and it assists you with what you're supposed to do. Since I'm not that familiar with .NET, if Kembo is disconnected, you're going to have to try the rest of the part that he left off. But let me just confirm.
I think it's a internet issue because on even on WhatsApp is offline.
Yeah, maybe an internet or a power outage issue. But is there anyone with a question so far? Maybe we can handle the questions while we give him time. I can see that he's back.
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry, I lost my internet. Let me just share my screen and we are going to proceed from where I left. So I'm sorry for that. So are you able to hear me at the moment?
Yeah, you are audible and your screen is visible.
Okay, let me just proceed before my maybe my bundles get off. So I was supposed to save this file. And then inside, let me go to .NET file. So I'm going to locate the project that we had. So it was Copilot. So this time around it's called the, did I name it the client? I think it was this one. Then inside properties, wait a minute. I'm supposed to save this file. Let me locate which project am I building at the moment. There's several files that are building up on my code. This Copilot, but the project is car client. So I'm going to save this. So I'm going now to go to .NET folder. Inside the car Copilot project, I'm supposed to get into the client. All right, so the pages. So I'm going to name this home.razor.cs file. So it's saved. So and allow me to delete some of the other we messed up on. So it's inside Copilot. So we should remove this. But when we're removing it will cause an issue, so let me just leave it at that point. I'll just remove it at the end of the presentation. So whatever we're supposed to do next is to add some styling. So I'll locate the home.razor, remove this code because we've taken it the other wing, and then tell Copilot to add us some styles. So now we have to redo this again, add that for styling. Let's wait for the response. So it has added some styles, but not that much. So I'm going to accept it and then redo it again. So I'm going to still ask Copilot because you see now the response that's giving me is not the same response as before. So I'm going to still tell it to add more styles. So yeah, there are some new styles added. So let me accept this. I think this is much better. Then I'm going to proceed now with connecting the front end and the back end where we left it. So let me look into that. So we're supposed now to connect front end and the back end. So I'll go back to the Razor page, remove these static pages. So when I remove these static pages, I'm supposed now to ask Copilot. Let me just look for the message that you're supposed to get it. So the one that you tell Copilot to give us a template that we will use to connect to the backend. So it's over here, then paste it. So we were at this point before we realized that we had a wrong Blazor application. So it's over here. I think the same thing. Now we will not be having an issue with HTTP clients. So let me check. Yeah. But the same round has a different implementation. So I told you Copilot will always give you different implementation each and every time. So you see it's giving us the HTTP client that we're supposed to be using. And then inside the options, it's going to, so inside the options, it's going to look through the API or the card. So let me just go directly to the service, look for to this endpoint over here, then be back to the front end again. So I'm supposed to just come over here, paste in my route to the backend, and then this should be the right route. So something else to note, don't forget to import something dealing with JSON serialization. So you should be using JSON.text over here. So you hold on Alt and Enter, then you can be able to have it. So let me see, there was something I was supposed to add. I don't think we still need to add. Let me see. It was this of .http so that you can be able to send HTTP to the backend. So if we check the front end this time around, where's the program.cs? Now it looks good. Where's the front end there? It's here. Now the front end looks good. So allow me now to test out how it works. So this is where we left it before restarting the entire front-end application. So I'm going to start. So I'm going to first of all set the front-end as a startup project, then debug it. So it's going to build, and as that is building, let me also do the backend. So I'll debug and then, oh, okay. So I can't do two projects at the same time. So let's wait for one to complete. So it's going to take some time because it is the first project after starting it off. It can't be the same as the car service that we've been able to test it over and over again. But as that continues, okay, so the Blazor app will open. It's over here. Let's see what's going to develop. The page is going to load. Let's see what's happening here. So we are told that HTTP client does not contain definitions on the JSON. I think that's the issue why we are getting that. Let me go back to http.razor and it's over here. Okay. So seems today everything won't work out. HTTP does not contain definition for get JSON. And are you missing the using statements? Which other using statements should I be able to use? Let me see. Everything should be there. Okay, let's allow for debug to happen. So we have 0 out of that error. Let me reload the page. Okay. So it's building, but we are told that it's going to build with some errors. Okay. So this is some of the effects that happens when also you're developing with Copilot. Let me get rid of one of the folders. Then which means we just have to now only connect the backend by itself. Okay, so I'm going to try the front end running it once again. So once it causes some issues, then we'll just leave it at that point. It's going to also build with issues. I think it's because of a lot of clunky code that we've been able to be adding and removing some. So we'll just work with the API that was just working, but within the template, maybe these are steps that are missing in the two connections. So we'll just leave it at the backend whereby you're able to develop your own API, and somebody work something through with the front end. Let us know whereby I'm missing something. Then you can be able to reach out to something that I was able to miss. Yeah, back to you, Tiff. Meanwhile, maybe if I get some solutions when you conclude the call, then it should be nice. So seems the front end Blazor has some issues with this.
Since the demo was nice, since it's kind of long and we didn't, I think I presented or I spoke too much on my half of the session. So maybe we can schedule another call and have just a demo dedicated to this, because um I'm not sure I have anything else from my side. I think I finished up. So
Okay, all right. So with this session, we've been able to achieve the backend part of this, and somebody can go proceed with the same. So if you be able to develop the front end well, building up and then connecting with backend, then there's a lot of things to do with the same extension. So it's going to show you also how can be able to connect to Azure tables on Azure. Just below it, you can be able to deploy that on Azure. So it's a very long workshop for you to try it out. Yeah, so whenever I get to a solution of why my HTTP is not able to connect to my backend, I'll be able to let you know. So thank you so much for joining today's session.
it was nice to have you guys. Tomorrow there's also another session on .NET. It will cover web APIs. So maybe if Kemboy will have found a solution by then, he can explain it to us. But we'll have web APIs session tomorrow. So if you wanna know how to build a backend with for .NET, you can join us and we'll go through that. So see you tomorrow, guys. That's it. Thanks for being for joining us in this call.